What's up, guys? We just got done reading chapter 11, and it's a very simple chapter. You know, they're just chilling at the house after the engagement party. Vivian can't sleep, so she sneaks downstairs to the kitchen for a little late night snack, and Dante comes down for the same thing. And their conversation is really good, very positive. Just basically them getting to know each other a little bit. So I'm liking where their relationship is going now. This is chapter 12, and we're still looking through the eyes of Vivian. Maybe you guys will finally fuck tonight. Isabella's voice crackled through my phone, which I had propped against the wall so I can see her while I got ready. It's not a truce without an orgasm to close the deal. Isa, what? It's true. You deserve some fun after working your butt off these past few weeks. Her keyboard clicks paused, and a distracted expression crossed her face. Speaking of fun, what do you think my character's signature murder method should be? Poison, strangulation, or good old hacking with the butcher's knife? Poison. It was the only one that didn't turn my stomach when I pictured it. Hacking it is. Thanks, Viv, you're the best. I sighed. Isabella sat in her room, her pet snake Monty draped over her shoulders while she typed furiously on her keyboard. Behind her, a mountain of clothes covered her bed and half obstrued the oil portrait of Monty that Sloane and I had commissioned as a joke for her birthday last year. Most writers preferred silence and solitude, but Isabella worked best surrounded by chaos. She said growing up with 4 older brothers had conditioned her to thrive in mayhem. Anyway, she said after several minutes of hacking her poor characters to pieces on the page, back to the subject at hand. You need to take the sex for a test drive before you commit. You don't want to be stuck with someone who's bad in bed. Not that I think Dante would have that problem, she added. I bet he fucks like... Stop. I held up a hand. We are not discussing my fiancé's sexual prowess over the phone. Or ever. There's nothing to discuss. You haven't had sex yet. Isabella's cheeks dimpled while Monty's forked his tongue as if he agreement. You'll have to do it eventually. If not before the wedding, then on the wedding night or the honeymoon. Unless you both plan to be on being celibate for the rest of your lives. She wrinkled her nose. I put on my earrings in silence, but a flutter of nerves cascaded through my stomach. She made a good point. I'd been so focused on planning the actual wedding, I hadn't given much thought to what would happen after. The marriage bed, the honeymoon, the heat of Dante's naked torso against mine, and his mouth. My throat dried, and I banished the X-rated mental images to the dark recesses of my mind before it took root. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, I said in a hopeful, convincing tone. We barely know each other. My truce with Dante had held up surprisingly well since our late-night snack rendition last week. But despite the occasional conversation when we were both home, a rare occurrence given our busy schedules, my future husband remained an enigma. No better night than to get to know each other than tonight. Isabella leaned back and stretched her arms over her head. A mischievous glint lit in her eyes. There are plenty of sexy nooks and crannies at the club. Don't tell me you've taken advantage of those already. It's only been... I mentally calculated how long she's been working at the Valhalla. 3 weeks? Of course not. She dropped her arms. It's against the rules to fraternize with members. I'm all about breaking rules, but this is the best job I've had in years. I'm not losing it, so I can be a notch in some rich guy's post bed. bedpost, no matter how hot he is. Her expression flickered before it brightened again. Fucking or no fucking, I can't wait for you to see the place. It's absolutely bonkers. The entry hall floor is inlaid with solid 24-karat gold, and there's a rooftop helipad with the helicopter rental service that'll fly you anywhere within the tri-state area for lunch. I smiled at Isabella's enthusiasm, even as nerves invaded my stomach. Tonight was my official society debut as Dante Russo's fiancée. Our engagement party didn't count. That had been a private affair attended by family and friends. The annual fall costume gala at the Valhalla Club, on the other hand, was a different matter. I'd attended dozens of high society events before, but I'd never been invited to the Valhalla, since my family weren't members. I was more on edge than I cared to admit, but at least Isabella would be there. She was working the second half of the gala, which meant one guaranteed friendly face. I stayed on the phone with her for another few minutes until she left me for her shift. After I hung up, I took a deep breath, double-checked my reflection, and applied a second coat of red lipstick for extra confidence before I exited my room. The faint sounds of Greta's favorite Italian game show drifted through the kitchen as I walked to the foyer. She liked watching TV while cooking, and said Dante had installed the kitchen's small flat screen for her when she started working for him. He threatened to remove it if any of her meals weren't up to par, but no one took his threats seriously. He was ruthless with outsiders, but he treated his staff like family, albeit one he kept at his arm's length and had extremely high expectations of. My stomach dipped when he came into view. Dante waited in the foyer, his head bent over his phone. He'd adhered to the gala 1920s theme with his trademark precision. Sleek three-piece charcoal tweed suit, matching newsboy cap, and signature frown. If you keep scowling, your face will freeze that way. I attempted a light tone, but it came out in embarrassing breathy. His eyes flicked up. The abrupt break in his sentence charged the air, as sudden and devastating as a lightning strike. My steps faltered, then halted altogether, every nerve ending sparked with awareness, sending goosebumps down my spine and oxygen out of my lungs as our gazes met. Dante didn't take his eyes off mine, but his attention somehow touched every inch of my body until it came alive, like a black and white film thrown into Technicolor. You look, he paused, an unidentifiably emotion passing over his face. Nice. The dark, velvety pitch of his voice, nice, sent a thrill through my veins. The mirror next to him reflected what he saw, an ivory beaded lace gown that bared my back and shoulders and fell to my thighs in a graceful line. Intricate, thickly woven patterns over strategic areas saved the dress from being completely see-through, but it would have still bordered on scandalous had it not been for the elegant cut. The outfit bared miles of skin and made me feel almost naked from a distance, but one didn't dress to blend into the surroundings of the Valhalla. They dressed to stand out. Thank you. I swallowed my hoarseness and tried again. So do you. The 20s suits you. Corner of his mouth tipped up. Thank you. He held out his arm. After a brief hesitation, I took it. Silence wrapped around us as we took the elevator to the lobby and slid into the back seat of the waiting Rolls-Royce. I smoothed a hand over my skirt, unsure what else to do. How's work? I asked when the silence stretched into uncomfortable territory. I've barely seen you all week. Missed me? Amusement lengthened his drawl. As much as a sailor misses scurvy. Surprise burst through me at his laugh, not a chuckle, not a scoff, but an honest-to-God laugh. The rich sound filled the car and seeped through my skin, where it transformed into a bloom of pleasure. You truly come up with the most flattering comparisons. His dry tone contrasts with the sparkle in his eyes. My stomach swooped like I'd been plunged down the slope of a roller coaster. The sight of a laughing, unguarded Dante was utterly catastrophic for my ovaries. It's a talent I honed growing up. I try to focus past my body's unwilling and frankly annoying reaction to a simple laugh. During boring social events, my sister and I played a game where we had to come up with the good animal comparisons for each guest. Alice Fong was a rabbit because she only ate salads and was constantly twitching her nose. Bryce Collins was a donkey because, well, he was a stubborn ass. And so on and so forth. My cheeks heated. It sounds silly, but it helped us pass the time. I don't doubt it. Dante leaned back, the picture of casual insouciance. What would you liken me to? A dragon. Glorious in his power, terrifying in his anger, and magnificent even in repose. If you'd asked me before our truce, I would have said an ill-mannered boar. I said instead, since we're being nice, I'll upgrade you to a honey badger. The most fearless animal in the world. I'll take it. I blinked at how well he took it. Most people would not appreciate being compared to a honey badger. To answer your earlier question, work has been aggravating.